Hello and welcome to the Tennis Podcast, live from Wimbledon and presented by Barclays, the official banking partner of Wimbledon. Happy 4th of July to everybody that celebrates. Happy birthday, Pam Shriver. Happy birthday, my niece Nina, who one day will understand why I always miss her birthday. And happy, absolutely incredible day of tennis to everybody that loves tennis, which I assume is everybody that is watching and listening right now. The sort of day of sport that makes you feel truly alive, David.
Oh, it's been one of the great days that I've had at Wimbledon ever. Right from the very first match that you and I watched together with Marta Kostyuk and Emma Navarro, Catherine, right through the centre court programme that we sat through at the start there with Eala against Swiatek. I know there'll be a lot of Swiatek fans sad tonight, but just as a sort of spectacle and an occasion and a match and a story and everything, it had everything. And then all the way through the day, there hasn't been a dull moment, and it's just been exhilarating from start to finish, and I feel really lucky that this is a sport that I love and get to work in.
Yeah, if Matt and David sound a little bit breathless right now, it's because they have pretty much sprinted here from centre and number one courts. David, you were on court number one?
I was, yeah.
Matt was on centre watching Grigor Dimitrov get through against Berrettini.
I was on both.
Wow. Okay, well,
if you did that.
If you were both there, should we start with what we've just seen on court number one? David, I know this is tough for you. Let's get it out the way early. Frances Tiafoe, David's pick for the final, out in 5 sets,
in
4 hours,
round.
4 hours and 8 minutes. Look, one of mine lost in the first round. I got off very lightly that night. Alexander Bublik, 4-6, 7-6, 7-6. That was the 13-11 tiebreak, that third set. 4-6, don't know how Frances Tiafoe came back from losing that 13-11 tiebreak. Should get sort of a mini trophy for coming back and winning the next set, I think. But then ultimately losing the fifth set, 6-3 in the fifth. I know that's not how sport works.
He gets the was it worth all that effort
exactly.
award.
9 set points for Tiafoe in that third set tiebreak. I really do think it was extraordinary to come back from that and win the following set, but ultimately for nothing. David, do you feel this was one that got away for your man Tiafoe?
Yes and no. Yes and no. And I know that's not really a satisfactory answer. I think if you have 9 set points in a third set when it's 1 set all, you have to regard it as one that got away from your own standpoint. But just as much as it was extraordinary that Tiafoe came back from that and won the 4th set, I think it's then extraordinary that Bublik came back and won the 5th set, and he deserves enormous credit for that. I do think Tiafoe will be spending his summer obviously working incredibly hard, hoping that the US Open will be the one that he can actually convert, but he'll be thinking that that's twice that he should have beaten Matteo Arnaldi at the French Open. He should have beaten Alexander Bublik. He's a setup. He's got 9 set points at 1 set all in the third set. And if he goes up 2-1, I think he gets over the line. The issue is trying to do it against a guy like Bublik when it's 2 sets all and Bublik just goes into casino mode. I mean, the guy is so dangerous and he plays his own percentages. His way of playing is to try to hit clean winners and outrageously audacious shots for a game or two, and then he just basically has a couple of games off and serves his way through to win the match. And it's very clever. It must be enormously unsettling for a guy like Tiafoe, but he had some points on his racket in some of the set points in that incredible tiebreak in the third set. He had forehands that he either put wide or in the net, and you just can't do that. And I mean, look at a big word that he would probably use to explain the importance of winning the big points is to be clutch, and he wasn't clutch in the French Open and he wasn't here. Bublik was, and you've got to give him enormous credit for that.
Yeah, we kind of were debating which Bublik was going to show up in this one, weren't we? And I know Tiafoe won that first set, but you could kind of tell early here that Bublik was into this match.
Locked in.
Absolutely. And becomes a problem. Like, Bublik playing like that and with that attitude is a real issue for everyone. We've seen him when he plays a Jannik Sinner and he just very quickly has I can't beat this guy, and falls flat, and it's really disappointing. We've seen him have real expectation on him coming into Wimbledon last year, and he plays Munar in the first round, who was a tough draw at that time, but he was disappointing. But this kind of match is kind of the Bublik sweet spot, and he was just a problem. I mean, 47 aces in the match, and so many of them timely. And yeah, as David's described, there were definitely set points that Tiafoe had in that third set that he will want back. But given he had 9 of them, I'm not sure that many were actually on his racket. Like, it was probably 3. So many of them, Bublik slammed down serves and just ripped it from him. So absolutely Tiafoe will have regrets about that period. But 9 kind of makes it sound like, every single one he had a shot at. If he'd only lost 3 set points, it wouldn't feel quite as bad, maybe. And we have to credit Bublik there for ripping that from him at times. And yeah, his recovery in the 5th set was good. I thought Tiafoe was a bit flat in that 5th set, and he missed a lot of just like rally ball backhands. I think one of the tough things for Tiafoe was that he lost that 3rd set. That was one of the best sets he played. Like, he was playing well at that time.
He really was.
He was really feeling it. So good. He just couldn't get over the line. And
do you know, Bublik only broke him once in the entire match, and that was the one in the 5th set. He's up 2-1, and yet he still hasn't broken the guy's serve. It was amazing, really. But a great example of how there are different ways to win tennis matches and to be playing the percentages your way. And he knows his game, and when he's locked in like that, really dangerous.
Matt, I do not know how you managed to cover Dimitrov, Berrettini and Bublik Tiafoe, given that they were happening simultaneously. But given that you did, tell us about Dimitrov beating Berrettini in 5 sets. Berrettini coming back, but not all the way back.
Indeed. And Dimitrov was, really good those first 2 sets, takes the 2-set lead, and then he realises that if he doesn't win it in 3 sets, he's going to be back in the situation where he was in a couple of nights ago, and with the roof coming on. And you could feel him fear that. And the conversation he had with Denise, the tournament referee, at the end of the 3rd set, was kind of like, well, why can't we put the roof on while play is happening? Why do we need to have this break? And I'm going to get cold, and all of it that we kind of thought he'd got over because he had this situation just a couple of days ago.
Not sure he's ever getting over it now.
I think this was confirmation that he's never getting over it, and it's always going to be a thing for him as long as he keeps being in that situation, because last year was just so brutal. You can't really get over that. Anyway, he then loses that 4th set under the roof, and by this point Berrettini is playing so well. He is finding the forehand, it's pinging off his strings, he's playing the points on his terms, and I actually thought Berrettini was going to come all the way back and win this in 5. I was so impressed with his level at the end of that 4th, and I got out there for the 5th, and well, what a reset from Dimitrov, because he played the most spectacular return game to get the break. And in these sorts of matches, one break is so often enough. Threaded a backhand pass down the line for that break of serve. The joint, as Mary Corello would call it, on centre court just went mad for him. I think they were torn. They like both of these guys. Both of their stories are incredible, and so much sort of injury, heartbreak in their careers. You want it for both of them, but I think in that moment when Dimitrov hit that backhand down the line to get it, it was kind of like all of centre court went with him, and we're like, okay, let's try and get Grigor over the line now. And he was very good in the last few games, served incredibly well, and didn't really give Berrettini much of a chance. And in his on-court interview afterwards, he was talking about how he felt good physically as the match went on, and how he found his groove. And yeah, he even used the words, "I would never know," when referring to to last year and that opportunity that got taken from him with the injury, and now here he is back getting another shot and trying to find out what he could have done in that draw. He kind of gets to find out now because here he is through to the fourth round.
Did the fact that he was taken to 5 sets tonight and stood up to it physically very well, seemed pretty fresh at the end, quite frankly, did that build your confidence at all in his body and his physicality? Because 2 nights ago we were in a very similar situation with Grigor having won, and we were all daring to dream for him, right? We were doing the you never know thing, and you were the voice of reason saying we cannot trust his body. And the same goes for Matteo Berrettini. And look, I'm not saying you'd want your mortgage on Grigor Dimitrov's body holding together, but has tonight built your feeling of trust in it, and your feeling maybe that this run could really be something this fortnight at Wimbledon?
I don't know. It's tough to say it has when he's got an extra 5 sets in his legs, but I was impressed with how he was feeling at the end. He did look totally fine. I think the draw is the most helpful thing, right?
Does it pretty good for him?
It looks pretty good for him. I know there's still a lot of good players in this half, but no one he can't beat, I would say. And
I think the bigger point is he should beat Arthur Fery, as good as Fery was today, and we'll discuss his match and his really significant achievement. But he should win that, and if he can win it comfortably, efficiently, he could preserve a bit of energy.
And then it's the winner of de Minaur and Cobolli, which both of those guys would be the favourite, I think, whoever it is. But it's not Jannik Sinner, is it? You'd give him a chance.
I would... Look, I know this is throwing it ahead a lot, but I would make Dimitrov the favourite against Cobolli on grass, personally. I think his know-how on the surface should make him the favourite. I think de Minaur's a different matter.
Oh,
it's tantalising.
You're starting to believe, David.
When did I ever not?
Yeah.
But believing all the way, I think, is the question, rather than quarterfinals, semi-finals. That's not a fanciful thing to be discussing now, I don't think. But semi-finals, finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think de Minaur would be the favourite against Dimitrov. That's what I'm feeling right now. And I think Fritz or Zverev would be the favourite against him as well. But you never know.
Does it feel at all similar to the Goran year?
No. No, it doesn't. But it might.
A few other people have to lose first, right?
I'm not. When I was watching Goran go through, he went through an extraordinary draw of people to win that title. I'm trying to remember exactly who he beat, but I remember he beating Moya and Safin and Roddick and Henman and Raft. It was just incredible what he did.
But he didn't have to beat Sampras.
No, he didn't. And I don't really think after the third round, I'm thinking Goran's going to win Wimbledon.
Yeah, okay.
So
it changes.
Tune into future episodes,
there's
folks.
time, folks, for him to...
He'd need Sinner to go out, right, for it to feel different, and probably Djokovic as well.
Okay.
Oh, I think... Listen, we're talking about the final, surely, here.
Well, of Goran, you're talking about winning it.
Yes.
I'm talking about all of it. I'm having all the fun with the Grigor Dimitrov story.
It's a good job we don't get ahead of ourselves on this show, isn't it?
Look, so Dimitrov to play Arthur Fery and Bublik to play Taylor Fritz. We will talk about those two later on in the show.
I just realised it's all wild card clash, Catherine. Tough fourth round for you.
It's fine. I'm comfortable with my position.
You're not into Dimitrov at all, are you? Because
of
bloody wild cards.
I think two things can be true. I think he shouldn't be here. But I can enjoy the fact that if there are going to be wild cards, I've never supported one more than that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to message Goran after this and say, Catherine didn't think you should have had a wild card in 2001.
Those are the types of wildcards
Looking forward to that voice note you get back.
Can get on board with. Oh, God. Okay. Right, let's go back in time, shall we, and take you to centre court and the first match of the day. And a quite extraordinary story, and one that makes it very difficult to avoid cliches like a star is born and that sort of thing, because, look, this was a star we all already knew about, but it's different when you do a thing against a defending champion on the most famous court in the world, and that is what Alexandra Eala did today. 7-6, 6-2 against the defending champion Iga Swiatek, becoming the first Filipina, the first player from the Philippines to reach the second week of a slam. And she said, for me, this is everything. But she also said, just because I'm emotional doesn't mean that I'm satisfied, which is what I love to hear. She said, next round, let's go. And she said of the support that she receives from everybody in the Philippines. And I've heard that there are already watch parties planned for 2 days' time in her round of 16 match. She said, we're all in this together. And David, we were out there on centre court watching this match, and yes, look, the representation of a previously unrepresented nation and region in this sport will always be a huge story with Alexandra Eala, and the support she receives will always be a feature of her matches. But actually, just because of how it works here, there weren't that many Filipino flags waving. There wasn't that much. It was actually probably the least partisan support she's walked out to in a couple of years, quite frankly, since people really became aware of Alexandra Eala. Most of the fans that she had out there on centre court today were people that she won over with her tennis and her performance, because it was that good and that electrifying.
And her personality. She made that crowd fall in love with her today. She has that ability. She has something truly special, magnetic. She makes you feel all the feelings when she's playing the sports, because she's clearly into it so much and she loves it, and she's playing fearlessly, really. She goes for it. And there she is playing the defending champion on centre court. You know, she had to save a set point in that first set. I think Swiatek will have regrets that she put a backhand return in the net from a 79-mile-an-hour serves on set point. But when Eala had her chances, she didn't take them all, but she just kept on going for it. And she's a lefty, and she's going after that forehand relentlessly. She dares to dream on a tennis court. And the moment that she went 9-8 up with the sort of fearless hitting that she likes to do in tiebreak. I mean, there was the most incredible roar, and then she asked for more. She asked for more noise, and people are going just wild in that stadium. And she had them in the palm of her hand. I mean, and I think a lot of people in that stadium maybe didn't know that much about her. There's a lot of people that come to Wimbledon not necessarily knowing players that aren't the big names, but they will have left remembering Alexandra Eala. It's just a wonderful performance from her, and she doesn't put any limitations on herself. She will see no reason why she can't go and keep going.
Do you see any reason why she can't?
No, she's got a great game for grass. She's dangerous. I do think she's playing Jasmine Paolini next, and I tell you, she's playing well. And you're going to have two just wonderful personalities on the court against one another. But if you go and knock out the defending champion, and it happens to be Iga Swiatek, you need to be taken seriously. She was on that stage and she owned the place.
I think she's better than I realised.
I had the same thought.
We've obviously known about her for a while and seen her talent and been aware of it, but God, the way she packaged her game today was so impressive. And it was interesting how Swiatek actually talked about how the serve being slow, she actually found difficult to return, and there is such an element here of it's not only a good game, it's an awkward game. You don't see it a lot, and I think she can use that to her advantage. The leftiness, the fact that the serve isn't all that big, but she backs it up so well. She takes the ball early. She keeps coming. She's a threat off forehand and backhand. Like it's all there, and she's intense. You know, she plays such, you know, intense tennis and doesn't let it go and scraps and fights. Like it's a really hard thing to come up against. And yeah, I felt like when she beat Swiatek last year, I sort of thought that was mostly Swiatek playing quite badly. This time, I actually thought that first set was so high quality.
Absolutely.
You know, like there's obviously stuff to be concerned about for Swiatek, but this was by no means like a bad Swiatek performance at the start of this match and for the first set. I thought she did a lot of things quite well, and Eala went toe to toe with her, and that was not what I was expecting. I thought if Eala were to win this, Swiatek would have to be like really off it in a way that we have seen quite a lot this year. But I didn't feel like that was the story of this match, to be honest. I think Swiatek really had a poor start to the second set and dropped serve very quickly a couple of times, and that was disappointing for her. And then even she got one of the breaks back and then immediately just sort of gave it up again, and that resistance wasn't quite there. But yeah, I thought basically she was outplayed by Eala, and I wasn't really expecting that, even though I gave Eala a big chance in this one.
Yeah, she was very critical of herself, Swiatek, for how she dealt with Eala's serve, which she kept on calling slow, and which was she wasn't trying to disrespect it. She was trying to say, look, just because it's slow doesn't mean it's easy. But you know, her serve is very, very attackable, and Eala did a fantastic job of that. I mean, that return performance today was stunning, absolutely stunning. And I didn't realise she could hit the ball that hard. I know it's because she seems to be a master of absorbing power. I didn't know she had the strength to do that. She was very rarely getting pushed behind the baseline.
I think it works well on the grass.
Definitely.
Her hit, you know, versus the topspin of Swiatek, who, by the way, fluffed a couple of drive volleys,
yes,
really shanked a couple. There are some things in the Swiatek game that just unrecognisable from the player of a few years ago.
And it's while on the one hand, you know, we were both in her press conference, David. While on the one hand, it's nice to hear her sort of clearly trying not to beat herself up too hard over this. You don't want that. I worried that she'd be a state, quite frankly. I think so much of her, I mean, her ranking, for one thing, she's going to drop out of the top 10 after this for the first time since May 2021. But I think a lot of her self-esteem as a tennis player was propped up by having the Wimbledon in her bag, because she hasn't really been Iga Swiatek since winning Wimbledon here last year. But for that full 12-month cycle of not playing that well, she's been Wimbledon champion, and she's had that. Now she doesn't. So I did worry about her press conference today, and was sort of on one hand relieved that she was saying the right things in terms of processing the defeat and taking it on the chin. But on the other hand, it was kind of sad hearing her so resigned to defeats like this, and resigned to her place in the tennis world, and talking about not having any right to expect more of herself. Like, it's all still there for Iga Swiatek. She's still so young, and she seems lost, quite frankly. To me.
It's quite a thing to see and hear somebody sound so world weary of the sport a little, or of her own performances when she's that age. But then you're talking about somebody who's had many years of success, real top level dominance, and I suppose anything that's comparable to that doesn't feel great, really. And like you say, lost is a good word, really, because she's searching for whatever it was, and she's sensibly trying to distill it down into process and in terms of what she can control. I understand that. I think it's probably the right thing to do. I'm just not entirely sure that the methods are the right ones. The people maybe not the right ones. I don't know. I'm not qualified to say for sure. Of course not. But I mean, what we do know is the results aren't coming.
I wanted to share a message that we received from our editor Jib in the Philippines.
I've been dying
earlier.
to talk about Jib all day.
Who wasn't into tennis at all when he started editing the tennis podcast. Definitely was thinking, what is this nonsense that I'm having to listen to every night? Now he plays tennis.
He sure does. He was playing tennis today. He travelled 3 hours to play tennis today.
love him.
Jib's tennis journey is incredible, and at the same time he's going on this tennis journey, Alexandra Eala is emerging as a force in the tennis world and the biggest superstar in the Philippines. Like,
The country's going on a tennis journey
exactly.
with Jib.
It could not be more perfect, and we love Jib so much. And he bought a subscription to some sort of streaming service this afternoon so that he could watch Eala in a parking lot. He had it up on his phone, and the second he got up the live stream, a group of kids emerged around him like the Pied Piper.
Which was so perfect because the commentator literally after the match had finished said, and there will be lots of little girls and little boys watching in the Philippines. And we were like, yes, we've got a photo of them watching over Jib's shoulder. It was magical.
Yeah, really magical, and we're very lucky to have that sort of window onto the world of what's happening over there. And Jib sent this message to us earlier, and I asked if he would mind us sharing it, and he said no, absolutely, go ahead. He said, with all the fucked up things happening in our country right now, Alex's win tonight on centre court, even for a moment, makes being Filipino something to be proud of. I'm so happy to see people I know who have different political stances, different religions, living in different walks of life, sharing one singular thing tonight. And that's the beauty of sport, isn't it? And I'm so glad Jib is experiencing that. And I'm so glad Alexandra Eala is bringing that to so many people in a part of the world that hasn't had that before. It's so powerful and so brilliant. And I know we always say it, but the way she handles it is absolutely magnetic. Sort of, the way she handles everything is absolutely magnetic. I've never seen anyone really tread the line of being respectful and humble whilst also being totally fearless and feeling like they're born to be here and not having any imposter syndrome at all. Like, that's a fine line to tread, and she's just on it, right on that line, and it's perfection. It's like the whole I'm thrilled but I'm not satisfied thing, which is the perfect state of mind.
And in terms of leaning into playing for something bigger than herself, like, what a special moment that she then meets Billie Jean King today at Wimbledon, and
I think that happens
shares a
quite
hug,
organically.
And that was lovely and wonderful to see. And
I just had a chat with the BBC floor manager that was floor managing at the time that happened, and I said she did know who Billie Jean King was and everything, right? Because she's 21, like, they don't all, and she absolutely did, and was thrilled to bits to be meeting her, which is
love that.
Wonderful. I could talk about Alexandra Eala all night. David, a word on Jasmine Paolini, her next opponent. You were watching her defeat of Maria Sakkari on the screen while we were on centre court watching Alexandra Eala 6-1, 6-2 in 66 minutes.
Yeah, I sort of turned this one on. She went 4-love up in about 15 minutes, and I thought, well, that's not like a scoreline I've seen from Jasmine Paolini so far this year. And I was wondering whether, sometimes Sakkari can really make scorelines like that happen when she has a bad day. So I wanted to turn it on, but this was, I'm sure Sakkari had a bad day, but Paolini was like the Paolini of a couple of years ago. And it was just joyous to watch. There was a conviction about her. There was a spring in her step. The body language was back. the positivity was there. I mean, I think these things all go hand in hand, don't they? Of course, you feel more positive when you're playing like that, but maybe as well, the game comes from the positivity as well. They're probably impossible to separate. Then I went to her press conference afterwards, and I asked her, you've not had the best of times the last couple of months. How does it feel, and when did it change? What were you going through at the time when results weren't there? And she said, I had doubts. I had a lot of doubts. I mean, she'd had some physical problems, but just generally she didn't.
And she said those doubts stopped me from expressing myself on the court.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great explanation of how it all becomes a vicious circle.
And I think it's that much more meaningful to her. It's a little bit like what I was saying with Swiatek is you must just get used to your reality being, I win, I play well, of course I do, because why wouldn't I? And suddenly you might stop playing well and winning, and it must be really disconcerting. And I think probably that's happened to Paolini, because one of the things of the joke of underestimating Jasmine Paolini is because I kept expecting her not to be able to produce it after a while, and she kept on doing it, and it was amazing to witness. And then finally she did hit the wall, and for whatever reason, the injuries, the self-doubt, but yeah, there's a player who's bouncing again there now. And the thought of her playing against Eala is really something to cherish. I hope they both have a good day. I hope they both play well. I don't want to see a one-sided match in which one of them really struggles.
Have you got any physical concerns about Eala? Just there was a little sign of it maybe towards the end of the match. She's got big, heavy strapping on her.
She does, yeah, and she was sort of just tapping at her thighs a bit to get them going. I didn't think her level of play dropped at all, but it wasn't tested by Swiatek down the stretch. I think another reason why Swiatek kind of let it get away today, there was a question there to be asked of Eala that Swiatek kind of threw away the opportunity to ask. Yes, I think it's a question. It's not a massive concern,
okay,
but a question,
yeah,
for sure. But I think she's had the strapping on right the way through the tournament. It looks alarming, but it hasn't hampered her thus far.
There's also a question about navigating a Grand Slam tournament, because she hasn't done this before to this level, to this far. So we'll find out.
And always say it, but backing up a big moment like that, it's hard, very hard to go again after that. I mean, that had the feel of it was like final scenes in terms
she
of
won
the
first set.
of it.
When she won the first set, the image that went through my mind when she won the point, and in several set points, threw her arms into the air and walked towards her team. I thought of Andy Murray winning the 2013 Wimbledon when he walked shaking his fists,
but
and threw his
both
hat
of them
off.
Reacted to the end of the first set like the match was over. Swiatek, devastated, marching towards her chair, threw her racket in her bag, and then walked off the court kind of shouting at herself and then at her box. And Eala with the arms in the air, celebration directed at her box. It was like, I can't believe there's more.
That was one set in the third round.
God. And all the while that was happening, over on number one court, which is where Matt was, Elena Rybakina, the former champion here, was being taken out by an absolute masterclass from Elise Mertens. 7-6, 6-1. Again, David was somehow watching this on one of our many screens. He described it as a beatdown.
Second set, yeah.
Second set was. Yeah, I mean, in the early stages here, there was no real sign that this was going to be a big upset, Rybakina was the one creating the chances. Mertens was hanging on a bit in the early stages. But then actually Mertens twice managed to get a break in the first set and immediately got pegged back, and we found ourselves in a tie break. And Rybakina's ahead in that tie break. And I was thinking, okay, it's been a little bit of a wayward set, or certainly latter half of the set, but she's going to get through it. She'll be fine. She always beats Mertens. She was 7-1 in the head-to-head, it's been a good matchup for her. But then the things we've started seeing from Rybakina in the last few months start happening, and one error leads to another, and wayward forehands in the net, double faults even in the tie break, and Mertens pinches that first set, and then absolutely, David's right. Races through the second set. As soon as she got the break, Mertens, she was pretty comfortable in this one. She played well, Mertens. I want to say that. Like, there were a couple of points back to back towards the end where, for once, Rybakina actually was like constructing a point quite nicely rather than just going for broke on the ball and missing. But Mertens was in her backhand corner defending and chipping with the slice, throwing up the moon ball. Every type of defensive shot you can come up with, Mertens had it. And causing Rybakina problems and then turning that defence into attack and winning it. And you thought, wow, it's a brilliant point. Then she did it again on the very next point and finished it with her own great backhand. And it was really good from Mertens. For someone who has had this ceiling really on her game and on how far she progresses in slams normally, this is a really big deal for her to beat Rybakina. But it was tough from a Rybakina perspective because that consistency that she had from the end of last season through to kind of the Sunshine Double of this season has gone. I mean, completely gone. She now is vulnerable every time she steps on court for this kind of thing happening, where the game just kind of deserts her and she deteriorates, and it's tough to watch because for someone so good, it becomes so error-strewn. And yeah, Mertens took advantage of that. She was asked in the on-court interview how the nerves were after the final game when she was trying to serve it out, and she was very tight trying to serve it out, Mertens. There were double faults, there were misses, but she had such a big lead. I never really thought she was in trouble, but she was asked for the nerves, and she was like, well, I think you could see that the nerves were pretty bad.
Yeah, David, watching that final game, gestured at the screen and said, one of them can't play tennis and one's having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, she was going through turmoil, wasn't she?
She was.
You totally understandably.
Yeah, but no, a heck of a win, and honestly, like, such a weird feeling. I don't know whether you had this as well, but like, we lost Rybakina and Swiatek from the draw back to back, in very quick succession, and those are huge defeats, But I wasn't that confident about either of them this tournament.
No.
Like, it feels like the draw's changed massively, and I think it has, because you have to respect the fact that they're former champions and they've won multiple majors. They were the big names in this half, but at the same time, it didn't quite feel like it had the same effect on the draw as it might have done in previous years, with Swiatek and Rybakina going out.
Rybakina hadn't been in a quarter-final, I don't think, since Stuttgart. Certainly hadn't been winning. She'd lost early everywhere in the grass court season. I chose her for my final because I couldn't see obvious alternatives in that half of the draw, and to me, well, the pedigree's there. To me, she's got the most perfect game for grass of anybody in women's tennis. And she looked like a bit of a ghost, I'm afraid, out there. And in the press conference too. I mean, it's what do you do? I said to her, what do you think has happened between that great start to the year and then this fall off? She says, if I knew that, I'd have done something about it, wouldn't I? Basically, and I totally understand that. It's must be horrible to just feel lost
like
that.
It's a brutal sport, isn't
it?
6 months, less than 6 months after winning a slam, you can look completely lost. It's tough out there. She plays Marie Buzkova next, does Elise Mertens. She beat Ludmila Samsonova 4-6, 7-6, 6-4. Also happening this match. Well, in fact, this match seemed to be happening while most other things were happening, because it went on forever. Incredible win for Buzkova, who has come into this Wimbledon with form. This is not out of the blue, her reaching this round of 16. She saved 15 out of 16 break points in the second and third sets. Nails from Buzkova.
Yeah, and Hannah was watching this one and described it as a masterclass in weaponised defence of how to win by bringing a bag of knives to a gunfight. Oh. Because, like, Samsonova has power and can just overwhelm you, and Buzkova doesn't have that. She has to dig in, and she does that so well. And Hannah said the story of this wasn't Samsonova imploding and hitting unforced errors as she can. It was Buzkova getting everything back, putting it in awkward places, and actively tormenting Samsonova was how Hannah described it. And went love 40 down when serving for the match, and then won 5 points in a row to get out of it. And yeah, sounded like she played the big points just so much better.
So Eala Paulini and Samsonova Buzkova. More matches in both the men's and the women's from today to talk about. Pam is in the chat. Pam is here live, everyone.
Happy
If you're in the
birthday,
chat,
Pam.
wish Pam a very happy birthday. We love you, Pam. Just before we move on to talk about those other matches, a word from our sponsors, Barclays, the official banking partner of the championships here at Wimbledon, and they know that unforgettable moments don't just happen on the court. I mean, today they really did happen on the court, but they happened elsewhere too. So if you're visiting Wimbledon 2026, make sure you stop by the Clubhouse by Barclays at the Orangi Pavilion. It's your chance to get closer to the action, step onto the player balcony, see players close up and grab a picture from the iconic Wimbledon umpire's chair. Matt, your parents did this, didn't they? Didn't they pay a visit to the pavilion?
No.
They got their free strawberries and cream.
Yeah, they got strawberries and cream.
Okay.
They did that.
That's a different ad
Yeah.
read.
It is.
It's all good stuff.
I'm sure that it's great to have your photo in the umpire's chair, but that didn't sound like something my parents would be doing.
I'd like
You sound
to.
like Yannick Sinner with the Royal Box
Yeah,
invitation.
right. Not for
Lovely
them.
idea. I know it's not for them. Okay. It might be for you, though. Don't miss the daily player Q&As. They're at midday every day. You might even be able to get an autograph with the player. And if you're a Barclays customer, not
might
only
like
can you
that.
get the free strawberries and cream, but you can head inside the clubhouse to discover even more. Search home.barclays/Wimbledon to find out more. Okay. Madison Keys, Amanda Anisimova on the 4th of July, second on centre court. Amanda Anisimova returning to that court for the first time since her double bagel in the final here last year. Matt, 3-6, 6-2, 6-3 for Madison Keys, and perhaps a scoreline that makes it sound closer than it was?
Yes, perhaps. I do think Anisimova deserved to win the first set. It was actually, it caught me by surprise, the first set, because I've watched her previous two matches and she's not been playing well. We talked about it, and she said that actually that was the reason she was nervous going back to centre court. It wasn't anything to do with last year's final. It was the fact that she wasn't playing that well, and she knew it, and she was worried about showing up on centre court with not much form. But the first set, okay, it was a slow start, but the game she played to win the first set was really good. As I said, it caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting it, but she was definitely the better player at the end of that first set, doing the things we know she can do really well. But from that point onwards, yeah, 6-2, 6-3 for Keys is absolutely a fair reflection of this match. Keys was more in control of her game, I would say, quite frankly. Anisimova has lost her forehand completely,
And she knows it.
She knows it. Unfortunately, she was very upset in the press conference and talked a lot about how she's been putting in the work, but she just can't find her game at the moment. And she talked about how she feels like she's playing at sort of 1-2-5 level rather than Wimbledon level, and how it's not enjoyable out there on the court when you're playing like that. And even during the match, you could hear every time she missed a forehand, she would turn to the box, and I think she was picked up by saying, "I've tried 20 different forehands and it's just not working." And it, as I said, it feels like she's tried to change the take back, make it look, to me it looks bigger. I imagine she's trying to get a bit more shape on the ball and make it a bit more reliable, but unfortunately, the total opposite has happened, and every time she goes to hit a forehand at the moment, she's really not confident with it and making a lot of errors, and then that seeps into the rest of the game as well. And yeah, it's tough right now, to be honest. And honestly, it kind of feels better that Madison Keys goes on in this draw, if you know what I mean.
She absolutely knew her tennis wasn't in the place to have a run here.
Totally not.
I think she was. She's upset about where her game is at more than losing today, right?
Yeah.
And it does sound like she's going to do some serious soul searching now. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes a coaching change. Anisimova, I know she hasn't been with Sebastian Sachs very long, and I'm generally sort of not in favour of chopping and changing too quickly and not giving coaches a chance, but it doesn't look great, does it? It might just not be the right fit. She said, I need to go home. I need to take some time and figure out how I can fix this. So I really hope she does ahead of the US hard courts, but there's just not much time, is there?
No. And she also said, hopefully everything will click, but it's hard to see that coming right now. You know, like it was a tough press conference, this one.
It's like you were saying earlier, what a brutal sport this is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful. We've had the best day. We weren't losing out there. You know, it must be a hard feeling.
Well, David, you did lose 2 of your final picks today.
Yeah, but one of the beauties of you never know is you can confidently say stuff's going to happen, but you never know.
By the way, that was Madison Keys' first match on centre court.
Unbelievable.
And she said that she had been offered by Laura Robson, who she's very friendly with in the past, to go on centre court and have a bit of a tour of it and make the walk and all that kind of stuff. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. I only want to do that.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. That's a bit like, do you want to sit at the kids' table at a wedding? You can come, but you'll be on your own at the kids' table.
I'd love to be on that. Imagine the fun they're having.
That's the best table. Yeah, but I found it interesting that she wanted to experience it playing there, you know, and I think that was, she said that was maybe part of the reason for her slightly slower start in this one, adjusting to those surroundings. But she is playing better than Anisimova right now. She looks a lot more in control of her game and reminders in this one of just how dangerous she can be. And she broke serve in the final set with an amazing backhand up the line. She looks to be moving well, I think, and she's just getting enough of her big shots in to sort of make the difference in these matches at the moment. And look, she now plays Noskova, who is the highest seed remaining in the bottom half of the draw, and the one in form, having just won a title, and has a very, very dangerous grass court player. But honestly, Keys and Anisimova coming just after Swiatek Rybakina, it felt big. It felt like these are 2 players with real pedigree in this bottom half of the draw, and there's a lot of good players. We've got 14 seeds left in the draw, which is the most in the 4th round of Wimbledon since 2007. I think that's part of why those losses for Swiatek and Rybakina are not impacting things as much. There's a lot of good players left. It doesn't feel like anything's blown wide open. But Keys Noskova to me.
Do you think the finalist is coming
match
from that match? Most likely.
I think I do, yeah. I think in terms of Noskova's game really suits the grass, and Keys, it does suit the grass, and she's got the Grand Slam experience, I think that's a huge match.
The last round of 16 match set up today is Marta Kostyuk against Ashlyn Kruger. This was the first match of the day. Kostyuk's win over Navarro on court number 2, 6-2, 4-6, 6-1. She was awesome, Kostyuk. I wasn't expecting new Kostyuk to also exist on the grass in this way, and I was so wrong about that. It's like what you were saying with Cobolli a couple of days ago, Matt. The athleticism enables her to translate her game to this surface, especially with this confidence that she's playing with right now. She looks a real force.
Yeah, you watch her play and you think, why has this never worked before? Because it looks perfect for the grass, really. She's got these sort of scything strokes as it is. I mean, we've seen her go after the ball this year, all the way through. Hard courts at the start of the year in Australia, just before she got that injury, got to the final, I think, in Brisbane. Then she's had these incredible results on clay and winning Madrid, reaching the semis of Roland Garros. And then suddenly now here she is on this court and you're thinking, well, yeah, she's just carrying on where she left off. And yet, being in the press conference with her was really instructive about how many doubts she's had on this surface. She said, before this tournament, I was terrible on this surface in practice. I was terrible. I couldn't win a practice set against anybody. She said I played a practice set against Serena and lost it. I played a practice set against Jessica Pegula. I lost it. And she says, I turned around to my coach, Sandra, and I said, look me in the eye and tell me, am I suited for this surface? Because I'm not sure. And she says, Sandra said, yes, you are. She said, okay, I'll believe you. And she went away. And I said, so what is it you're doing out there and that's kind of working? She says, not really thinking, not really worrying. Just, she said, and
enjoying.
She actually said that even if she'd lost today, she was sort of looking forward to next year because she's figured it out. And I said, well, what is it you figured out? She says, that I can do it. She says, I don't really know how to explain it, but I just know what to do now on this surface, and I've never known before.
I enjoyed that you mentioned Richard Krajicek in your question.
Well, you know, we've got Richard Krajicek
He was here
relive that
today.
we've just done. So we did 1996 relive. So I quoted, I don't know how familiar she is with Richard Krajicek, given the look on her face at the time. But I did say, you know, he won the title, but, you know, several years he said, I don't know how to move on the surface. And then he went and won it. So, you know.
Imagine if she goes
Believe
and
in
wins it
yourself.
and then quotes Richard Krajicek in her on-court
I do like
speech.
Marta Kostyuk though, like, and there's one of the little room 2 press conferences where there's only 3 rows of seats, and she's just so engaging and so prepared to take on any question, look you in the eye, and give you an answer. Really nice.
And you know, the thing about Kostyuk is, I hadn't really thought about her coming into this Wimbledon. I'd had the same thoughts that you had. Sounds like the same thoughts Kostyuk was having about the grass, but new Kostyuk is constantly doing things that I'm not expecting her to do. Like I didn't think I'd ever be putting her in a Grand Slam mix, and I did. I didn't think I'd see her sort of deal with pressure moments as she has done over the past few months so well. And frankly, you know, she'd never beaten Emma Navarro before. She was 0-4 in that head-to-head, and she's overturned that as well in this one. And that's the place she's in now, doing new things. And I probably should have been more on that. Like, this is different Kostyuk, and her game can suit this surface. And look, Navarro, I don't know what happened to her second serve return today. Like, so bad. Like, every time she would get a second serve return, she just really fumbled it. And I think it's going to be interesting to see that tested a bit more, because I still think that second serve is a little weak for Kostyuk. But her athleticism, her willingness to go after the ball, so good and so suitable for this surface, and confidence as well. She's just got a lot of it at the moment.
So, Ashlyn Kruger, Marta Kostyuk, Jasmine Paolini, Alex Eala, Madison Keys, Linda Noskova, Marie Buskova, Elise Mertens. Pick your finalist.
I think I'm going to go Keys.
David, do you want the list again?
Yes, please.
Kruger, Kostyuk, Paolini, Eala, Keys, Noskova, Buskova, Mertens.
I'm going Eala.
Wow.
I think the world might explode if
Wow.
Alex Eala reaches a Wimbledon final.
Love it.
You never know.
Okay, a few more men's results from today to touch upon. Alex de Minaur and Flavio Cobolli have set up a round of 16 match. De Minaur 4 sets over Zachary Schweider. Flavio Cobolli 5 sets over Karen Hashanov. Lost the first one 6-love. Overheard in the media centre at the end of this set from somebody sitting a couple of rows over from us. What is Flavio doing? It was the question on everyone's lips. It was the question he was asked in the on-court interview after this match. Do you know what the answer was?
I do.
We started by saying it was a bit early.
Yes, and I thought, this is Flavio. But then he went on to say, well, to paraphrase, watery shits. He is the face of IBS in tennis, by the sounds of things. He said, I felt some strange feeling on my stomach, but when I came back from the bathroom, I was okay. And we have a new. There was made a mistake with the machine, which was I had some problems with the food.
It sounded like he'd eaten at the wrong time.
Yep.
I mean,
It's amateur hour.
that is amateur hour.
I don't know. Grand Slam tennis, it's a bit like that, though, isn't it? A Grand Slam. We have that. When do you eat? It's not easy. I feel for you, Flavio. By the way, what was Flavio doing? That is a sentence that I hear so much
Reusable, isn't
during
it?
his match. Like, you kept saying, what is Flavio doing on the floor all the time?
He was every time I looked up, he was on the floor. A lot of the time doing utterly spectacular things. I mean, Court 2 loved him today. He said it was like a Davis Cup. And partly because there were a lot of Italians, but a bit like centre court with Eala, a whole lot of non-Italians came along for the ride with Cobolli. And he did this surfboard celebration thing afterwards, which Matt thought was a sort of nod to riding the waves. And it turned out actually it was a Brazilian football thing, and it was some kind of bet with his coach.
Yes, I think it's what Cunha, the Brazilian striker, does as his celebration. But it is right. You do have to ride the wave.
Yes, you do. He asked in his press conference about the 11 plus hours that he spent on court, three rounds. He says, "I'm the Arnaldi of Wimbledon."
That was great. I think he said of the Wimbledon.
He is a gift.
Oh, I love it.
The thing is, I feel like both he and Kostyuk, in a way, they're just sort of slightly deliriously going about Wimbledon because
Yes.
they're too exhausted to try and do it sensibly.
Yes.
So they're just going for
And
it
give it
having a
much
laugh.
thought.
Yeah.
And just,
They're
yeah.
just swinging
They put the
and
heart and soul
freewheeling.
into it,
Yeah,
but just
yeah.
sort of
Don't worry
what is
about
going
it,
on.
really.
Yeah, absolutely. Diminor Cobolli, Matt, they haven't played for 2.5 years. So, and
I can't wait for
Cobolli
that.
in particular, very different player than he was 2.5 years ago.
Imagine the rallies
That
like
is my kind of match.
Yeah.
Like, there's just like, how do you hit a winner in that? They're both so fast and such good athletes, and I really think that could be brilliant. I mean, I do think Cobolli's got quite a lot of tennis in his legs here, hasn't he? You know, he's played. He
He
played
said
a
he
lot
feels
this
really fresh,
tournament.
though.
Yeah. And I would hope at this stage of the tournament he's still got like another long match in him. I think it would be later in the tournament you'd really worry about that. Diminor today was tested in that second set by Schweider, and I was quite taken by the way everyone's talking about Schweider. I feel like the players really rate him. I've heard Ben Shelton describe him as like one of the best ball strikers he's faced. Diminor repeated that today and said he's got one of the best running forehands on tour, and there were a few of those. There was some drama at the end of the second set where Schweider thought he'd won it, but he ran into the net and touched the net before the ball had bounced twice after hitting a winner. So he didn't get it, but he eventually managed to win that second set, and Diminor recovered well, and he was feeling the vibes on his court, saying it feels like an Aussie court that he's been on. And you know, I think Diminor's pretty popular here as well. I think Diminor against Cobolli is
It's a good time.
it's a good time. Yeah, I would make Diminor the slight favourite. I do think Cobolli's vibes are better right now, you know, as we've talked about.
Than anyone, potentially.
And Diminor is
Giving
having
Alex Eala a run for her money.
Diminor is having a little bit of problems in that respect, but I don't know. He's got a lot of nous on this surface, and
Depends when Cobolli decides to eat before
Absolutely.
the match, potentially.
Yeah. 9 points he won in that opening set.
He did a full mention.
Speaking of vibes, David and Matthew behind the camera. Arthur Fery, 2-6, 7-5, 2-6, 7-6, 7-6, back from the brink on several occasions against Zizou Bergs. 4 hours and 39 minutes. He books himself a spot in the second week of Wimbledon, keeping British hopes alive. Matthew was out there for every single minute of this with his
I mean,
notebook.
He didn't even go to the loo.
I said to Matt, how are we going to get all of Matthew's takes in the show? Because he was out there for the whole thing making notes. And Matt said, there weren't that many takes. I think we'll manage it.
Quality over quantity, right, Matthew?
Yeah. Was it worth your time, Matthew? Yes.
Oh, Matthew
okay.
was buzzing. He loved it. He had a great time. Yeah, he came back and we went to have dinner, and we finished dinner and he was like, right, I need to go to the toilet. I have not been to the toilet. He said it creeps up on you, doesn't it? You forget about it when you're out there, and then suddenly you're like, I haven't been to the toilet for 5 hours. And I sat down with Matthew and went through his notebook and all of his diligent notes, and they were diligent. It was very, very good. Things to pick out. Matthew loves Fery's belief, self-belief, because he needed that in this match, even when he was down, and he was seriously down in this one. He was 4-1 double breakdown in the fourth, Fery.
3 nosebleeds down.
Yes, that is an issue for him. And he was 4-1 down again, only a single break this time, but in the fifth. But every time he just let Bergs know that he was still there, still in this match, not willing to give it up. And look, Bergs played poorly in those positions when he was leading. A lot of double faults, lost his game, lost his way. There was a bit of sort of, I think, a moment that Bergs might regret, where he goes over to the umpire towards the end of this match and has a bit of a moan about the fact that Fery has not apologised for a net cord. But not only that, it was a net cord that helped Bergs. It was a net cord where the ball sat up for Bergs to hit a forehand winner, and he missed it.
He complained to the umpire.
Yes, he said
tell you what,
he said it was
told tales
he said
on
it was
the other guy.
He said it was not very sporting.
Oh, get a life.
I think
He is on notice in my fantasy team for that. That is pearl clutching that I cannot tolerate.
the thing is,
Get a grip.
I think he's just lost his head in the moment, and he's basically choked away these leads. He was really nice to Fery afterwards. He wasn't chippy about it at all. I think it was a moment of madness in a
Should we let him off?
in a fifth set that he will. I think he'll
look,
probably regret.
He's got a great dog.
He does.
And he's usually a good lad.
He's hanging
He's
in
great.
there for the moment.
He's
I love
great,
Zizou
Zizou.
Bergs. I know. I was really disappointed in that moment. I didn't think he was that guy. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Fery, by the way, did an excellent eye roll when he heard that was said by Bergs.
This is Fery
like,
that put earplugs in when someone else was doing some.
he always
nonsense.
puts earplugs in. That's his thing. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not just when people are doing
No,
nonsense?
no, he always does it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just particularly handy when
because
people
the risk
are
of
doing
nonsense is so high.
Yeah.
David Leon Smith, the British Davis Cup captain, head of men's tennis at the LTA, was watching Arthur Fery from this very bench.
Yep.
You sidled up to him, had a chat.
It makes me sound really dodgy.
Okay,
With some loitering.
I do. I mean, it's all true. Let's be honest. Now, the entirety of the LTA performance staff was stood right here looking over this fence for, well, the full 4.5 hours. And when it was levelled up at 2 sets all, I mean, I had not really had a chance to watch this match, and I wanted to get some idea of how it had gone the way it had. Because what had happened is Fery had got off to a terrible start and lost the first set 6-2 in no time at all. Then he found his game, and this same thing happened in the first round against Emir Juma. You know, he was setting a break down, and he came back and he found his way into it. And this happened again, and then he had another terrible dip, lost the third set heavily in this match, and then found his way coming back again. And I was just curious from Leon what had happened to Arthur, whether he'd had like an energy low or whether he'd come out a bit tight and nervous, and how he'd got himself back into it, having not seen much of the match. And Leon was just going over there to fill up 4 different water bottles for the people he was standing with, because, you know, I mean, it was seriously hot up here, looking over there for so long. And he said, to be honest, Bergs, apart from when he really needed to, Bergs, he said, played some of the best tennis he's ever seen Bergs play for the first, set and third set. And he said he should have already won this match. The way he was playing, he doesn't know how he kind of let it go. He said Arthur did an incredible job at hanging in and played really well. You know, he said this is the best I've seen Fery play, and we were 4 sets in at that point. You know, and he said, look, win or lose, it doesn't really matter now in terms of the long term, because Arthur has been exposed to this, you know, and he's got himself to 2 sets all, and he's kept himself afloat in a dogfight. He says, I don't know how much he's got left. We'll just find out. And within minutes, Fery was 4-1 down, you know, and he looked like he'd gone, to be honest. And then it just sort of happened again. I mean, Fery's good at using the crowd. He really got the crowd going with him, and I mean, they didn't need much encouraging, but it was a brilliant atmosphere out here. I think there's only 800 people can get on this court, but they were really making some noise, and it was bothering Bergs, as you were saying. He just kind of lost it. He blew it, I'm afraid, for him. But huge credit to Arthur Fery. I've always liked his game. Of all the young British players coming through that are trying to break through, he's the one that I look at and think there's real talent there. I mean, he's not a big guy, but he makes the most of what he's got.
I have one more Matthew line for you. A pledge, and it feels fitting on the day that Amanda Anisimova goes out, to quote Matthew, if he wins Wimbledon, I will dye my hair blonde.
Matthew always wears a hat. I don't know what's going on under there.
Not blonde hair. I've known him for 20 years. He's never had it blonde, so I'm excited.
But it could be a shaved head. That could be a fake out.
Come on, Arthur.
Have you got hair under there, Matthew? Promise. Yeah. Okay. At the moment, he's wearing a hat and a hoodie.
Yeah, that is his live show look.
Yeah. It might be because he's already had a hair dyeing disaster and looking to cover it up. Okay. We'll keep you to your word here on the Tennis Podcast, Matthew.
Now people are torn about Fery Dimitrov.
Taylor Fritz, 4 sets for him against Lorenzo Sonego. The Blazer was back. He finally didn't get asked about it in a post-match press conference. He is through to face Bublik in the next round.
He did say, I think it was in the on-court, that he's so superstitious. So as soon as he won in the first match with it, he was like, well, of course I was going to keep wearing it after that. He's now so in it because he keeps winning with it. He's
an interesting guy, isn't he? I asked him about how he feels now about the decision not to play Eastbourne, which he revealed after his last round. His team had to sort of intervene and tell him not to play. He had wanted to play. And I think he's still thinking about the Eastbourne that got away, you know, which is sort of lovely. He has such genuine affection for that tournament. And he said at the time that he pulled out, he was aware of how many other top players had pulled out, and he was aware of how much it would devastate the draw, and he didn't want to do that to them. And that's really lovely. But also, you've got a chance at winning Wimbledon maybe here, or that's certainly how he should be thinking. You've got to be ruthless and selfish. But yeah, he definitely wasn't like, oh, I'm so glad now that I'm playing like this and in this shape that I pulled out of Eastbourne. He was like, oh, Eastbourne.
By the way, I love Lorenzo Sonego as an opponent for a big player. He creates vibes and matches, and Fritz did really well to get over the line in our 4th set. I mean, I think he still would have won it in 5, but you know, he saved himself a set there because he was really under the gun in that tie break. I thought it was going to go wrong for him and he was going to have to go into the 5th, but he turned it around.
And he was so pleased with himself, coming up with those big shots and the big moments. He was like, that's when tennis is at its most fun. Yeah. And I feel like everyone got out of this match what they should get out of it. But Sonego is a perfect opening week slam guy for everyone on the court to just have a great time. He'll hit great winners, he'll get the crowd going, he'll get into it. But Fritz has got, title ambitions, quite frankly, and getting out of that in 4 rather than 5 is big.
Alexander Zverev, comfortable today, 6-2, 7-6, 6-4 against Marcus Giron. A messier performance from him, but not too troubled, just a level difference between him and Giron. He plays Jiri Lehechka now, who needed 4 sets to beat Jaume Munar, and that means that the round of 16 lineup in this bottom half of the draw on the men's side, we have Alexander Zverev, this is bottom to top, Yuri Lehechka, Alexander Bublik, Taylor Fritz, Arthur Fery, Grigor Dimitrov, Flavio Cobolli and Alex de Minaur. Pick your finalist.
Going to stick with Fritz.
Yeah,
I'm going Fritz too. You've moved on from Tiafoe very quickly, David.
I mean, I haven't really got much choice.
Okay.
Sometimes you do know. When they lose, you know. All right?
Moving on to tomorrow, a whole new day of you never knows, David. Just speaking of order of plays, by the way, Venus and Serena Williams were on today's and then they weren't on today's. We had the news that announced via Serena Williams on her Instagram that her knee and the swelling in her knee that she had as a result of the singles match against Maya Joint the other night not recovered enough in time for her and Venus to be able to play their doubles match today, so they withdrew from the doubles. Looking at the pitches and the state that she was in, hard to believe that it was ever a conversation that match might have been played today, but we got some extra fun out of it along the way, so get well soon, Serena. In terms of tomorrow's order of play, day 7, we embark upon the round of 16, folks. We start on centre court at 1:30 p.m. with Roman Safiullin against Novak Djokovic. Second on, the women's match that has got the nod for centre court is Aryna Sabalenka against Naomi Osaka. And third on, it is Jannik Sinner against Shintaro Mochizuki. Number 1 court tomorrow opens with another All-American clash between Jessica Pegula and Iva Jovic. Then it's Felix Auger-Aliassime against Alejandro Davidovich-Fokina. And finally, on number 1 court tomorrow, Belinda Bencic taking on Coco Gauff. And the remaining singles matches on number 2 court following a men's doubles third round match are Karolina Mukova against Barbora Krejcikova, second on, and then Hubert Hurkacz against Jan Lennard Struff. Do we see any upsets tomorrow?
Probably. You don't want me to tell you what they will be, do you? Look, where did we come down on Bencic Goff? I mean, I think
that's pretty 50-50.
I do.
Really.
It's tough to know what the upset would be there.
I would pick Bencic, but I'm not sure I'd call Goff an upset.
I'm going Goff.
Yeah. Jovic might be an upset.
Yes, I think if Jovic won, that would be an upset.
Yep. Davidovich-Fokina, Safiullin, Osaka, Mochizuki. I think Mukova's the upset in Mukova-Krejcikova.
To me, that really is 50-50, that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then Hurkacz Struff. Who on earth knows? Someone watch that and let us know, please.
Yeah, there is a big temptation to just plot my way through the order of play via the women's matches tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you can kind of do that the way they've spread them out, I think.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a case of not watching the men's, but sort of waiting until the men's gets your attention. I
actually think Auger-Aliassime Davidovich-Fokina could get really interesting. Like I could imagine picking that up in like the 4th set and that being great. Interested to see how Mochizuki distracts Sinner.
Yes. What's he going to wear? Could streak across centre court.
Djokovic.
Richard.
Melissa.
96 style.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't Richard Krajicek that did the streaking, but he was present for it.
Indeed.
Is he in the Royal Box tomorrow? Maybe he'll be present for it again.
Okay. Anyone fancying Osaka?
That's the one that I sort of feel delusional about it.
And then she never does.
If you're not saying it, David.
Yeah.
I'm just going to wait and see. I'm all predictioned out.
Okay. Fair enough, David. Let's talk about Phoebe, who is looking a bit hot, quite frankly. As the UK weather starts to get hot again, says Phoebe, or Priyanka maybe, the heat wave has already hit where Phoebe lives and they are sensibly staying indoors where it is cool. What a lovely girl. Lovely, lovely girl. I see some toys strewn about the place. Did we see Elise Mertens appealing for a dog?
I did indeed.
In her on-court interview today.
Yep.
Phoebe.
She was
got
asked.
The call up.
She was asked what she would want to do on a day off, and she reminded Annabel Croft, "I don't have days off because I also play doubles." So this is very much hypothetical. But she was like, "What would I want to do in London on a day off? I would just want to walk someone's dog."
Aww.
She loves dogs.
She
man.
does, yeah.
Nice.
She's always surrounded by lots of dogs on Instagram.
Dad, get Billie Jean in the car. Drive her up to London.
She'd get on famously with Billie Jean, wouldn't she?
I want you to get into Mertens.
I'm not into Mertens. What's happening here?
I feel like Mertens is. I feel like you'd like Mertens.
I think I'm a really appropriate amount into Mertens. Hello to Bodie, Maisie and Roger, our mascots. Hello to Greg, Chris and Jeff, our top folks and executive producers. Matt, let's have some shout-outs.
We have Kim Ferguson from Glasgow.
Right, Kim.
Hello, Kim.
Like Kim Clijsters.
Very good. Kim has been a listener since 2019. Is a proud corgi owner.
Oh, well,
And is
get the corgi to Elise Mertens.
And Kim is taking her mum to Wimbledon this year. It will be her first time.
Oh.
And that will mean that Kim's mum is halfway to her fan slam, and Kim will be 3/4 of her way.
Ooh.
Next stop, Flushing Meadows.
That's
Very
what a wonderful
good.
thing to do, to take your mum to Wimbledon for the first time. Kim Birrell.
Yes. Go on, Kim.
Kim Murray. Kim's everywhere. Thank you, Kim.
We also have Lisa Toll,
Hello, Lisa.
All right, Lisa.
who says the only Lisa I know in pro tennis is Lisa Raymond.
Yes.
You've helped us out there, Lisa, because
Yes.
I was struggling for a
And
moment.
Lisa
Brilliant doubles player.
And Lisa wants to share her shout out with her twin sister, Laurie.
Oh,
Aww.
But hang
Laurie
on.
McNeil.
we know another
I know.
set of twin listeners where one of them is Lisa. Lisa and Jenny,
Who were here
who
yesterday.
were here yesterday.
Yes.
I was so sure you were going to say Jenny there. Wow.
It's amazing.
So Laurie and Lisa.
Yes. And
Oh,
Lisa says, not only do
good
we
duo.
share DNA, we also share the love of the tennis podcast.
Oh.
Federer was here yesterday, wasn't he, with his two sets of twins?
Was he?
Was he?
I didn't see him.
I think so. Instagram suggested so. Or maybe he's just in London and is... I've clearly got this wrong.
I saw his agent, if that helps, yesterday.
Federer's definitely kicking around the area. Maybe he hasn't actually been here to the tennis yet. He's
feel
in
like
town.
we'd have
Hang
seen-
on, we know he's coming to town because Matthew's doing some filming, but Matthew has to ditch us
Yeah.
for Roger Federer at some point.
Yeah. That's next week.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
So he's kicking around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa.
The internet's suddenly like, where's Federer?
Yeah, look out for him in Wimbledon. I'm sure he's just hanging out. We did see the Federers minus Roger hanging out in Melbourne, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So they do just hang out. Folks, thank you all for listening. We will be back tomorrow at the end of all of that fun. Well, at the end of all that fun, quite frankly, not before 9 p.m. At the close of play on the show courts. We will let you know when we're going live on our Instagram, via our newsletter. And if you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, then you can get an alert when we are going live. If you'd like to become a friend of the Tennis Podcast or subscribe to the newsletter, then the links are in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. We are part of the Athletic Podcast Network. Thank you for joining us live. If you did tonight on YouTube, and for joining in the chat, it is a joy to see it all. And Pam was in there, and we love that. Happy birthday, Pam. We'll speak to you tomorrow, folks.